Hello everyone, my name is Paige and today I'm going to be doing a book haul. So I haven't done a book haul in a while because usually I don't do them until I come home back to California, as I've been living in London for my grad program. I've talked about this a million times, but I got some books while I was gone and now I'm very excited to share them with you. Departing from what I've done in some of my older videos, this time I'm going to be doing synopsises, so feel free to skip over that if you don't want to listen to them, but otherwise, let's get started. I got a couple books from Fierce Reads, which I normally do every quarter or so I'm just gonna go through those first, and thank you very much, Fierce Reads, for these books. The first book I got was The Other Side. This is by Juan Pablo Villalobos. This centers around a couple different teenagers who are going through the immigration system, and it focuses on the U.S. Central American refugee crisis. Villalobos collected these stories through a series of interviews that he did with teenagers, and then he used creative license to create this non-fiction narrative story. It's also fairly short and it comes out in September. The next book I got in that package was Red Skies Falling, and this is by Alex London. This is the sequel to Black Wings Beating, which I haven't read, and I don't want to spoil too much about this one because if you also haven't read the first one, then I don't really want to say much. So go ahead and check out Black Wings Beating before you pick up this one. And this one is actually really big and it comes out in September as well. The next one I got was Girls Like Us, and this is by Randy Pink. This is a book about 4 different girls who are dealing with unplanned pregnancies, and throughout the story they become linked to each other through a series of different events. Ultimately, this sounds like it's going to be a really great book that really focuses on girls and women and their right to choose if they want to have a baby or not, which is like super prevalent to all the discussions that are going on today, so this sounds like it's going to be really great. And this one comes out in October. The next book I got was The Speed of Falling Objects, and this is by Nancy Richardson Fisher. Our main character is named Danny, and when she was younger she lost her eye in a very tragic accident. Ever since then she's been kind of trying to keep her family together by remaining this very perfect child. Through the course of the novel, her dad calls her up and asks if she'll come and star on his popular survivalist TV show. She says yes, but on the way to the show and the filming location, her plane crashes with a teen pop star, and essentially she has to come to terms with who her family is, especially her father, all while falling in love and surviving in the forest. So this sounds like it'd be really exciting. And this one comes out in October. This next book is really exciting because I just got it in the mail yesterday and I'm so glad it arrived in time before I could film this haul, and that's There Will Come a Darkness. This is by Katie Rose Poole. This is a huge book that honestly sounds a lot like Six of Crows. Essentially there are 5 different people in this story that have the ability to save or destroy the world that they live in, and the world that they lived in previously was kind of run by prophets who guided humanity, and now they're the only ones left that can kind of help people out. This sounds really fun, like an action adventure-y, like I said, Six of Crows type novel, so I'm very excited to get to this one before it comes out in September. This next one is one that I'm also very excited for because it was one that I specifically requested from the publisher, so thank you very much to HMH Teen for sending this to me, and that is The Stars We Steal by Alexa Dawn? I'm not sure. Anyway, this sounds super exciting. It's a bachelorette style type thing set in space where the main character, Princess Leo, is trying to save her family from financial ruin by marrying a very rich husband. However, throwing all of that off, her childhood crush Elliot comes back into the picture, and while she's trying to find a rich husband, he is kind of throwing things off for her and she's falling back in love with him, and there's all this unresolved tension between them, so this just sounds like it's going to be super exciting. And this one comes out in February of next year. I also requested this one from the publisher, so I'm very excited that they sent me a copy, and that's The Candle in the Flame by Nafisa Azad. I might be saying that name wrong. I'm just horrible with names. This one has already come out back in May, but I'm still really excited to get to this one. It sounds like there's a lot of magical realism in it and just super exciting and enriching worlds that I just can't wait to dive into. Basically, the premise of this story is the main character, Fatima. Her town is overtaken by these Djinn. I think I might be saying that wrong as well. But they begin to take over her town, and she's one of the only humans that is left alive, but she begins to change in ways that she's not really sure about, so it's kind of going through all of that. It's like dark magic and just really interesting descriptions, so I'm very excited to get to this one. I received these next couple books through Arcs for Trade, Books for Trade, whatever you want to call it, on Twitter, and I'm very excited for them. And the first one was this little sampler of Call Down the Hawk. This is going to be the first book in the Dreamer trilogy by Maggie Stiefvater. This kind of is the sequel companion series to The Raven Boys, which I totally love, so I was very excited to get this in a trade. This has the first 8 chapters in it, and I'm very excited to jump back into the world of The Raven Boys. And the next one that I also got in that same trade was I Love You So Mochi, and this is by Sarah Kuhn. I had heard a lot about this before it came out back in May, and so I'm very excited to pick this one up. This follows the story of a girl that is struggling with the relationship that she has with her mom in the United States, but she jumps at the chance to go visit her grandparents in Japan, and she just goes off on this adventure where she learns more about her mom and her culture. I guess there's a lot of descriptions of fashion and stuff in this one, and I've always wanted to go to Japan, so this sounds really, really cool. I also received As Many Nows as I Can Get by Shauna Youngdahl. I love this cover so much. I love this drawing. The back doesn't really say much about what this is, but it still kind of interested me. So there are 2 characters, Scarlett and David, and before they go off to college one summer, they are exploring love and physics and interesting questions, and that's pretty much all that it really says. So I don't really know what this has in store for me, but I'm very excited. And this one comes out in August. I also received This Time Will Be Different. This is by Misa Suregara. I haven't read the other book that she's written, but I'm still very excited to read this one. This sounds super interesting. It's about a main character named CJ, and her mom sells their flower shop to a family that was responsible for basically the downfall of CJ's grandparents when Japanese individuals were being rounded up and sent to internment camps during World War II. Obviously, this is really upsetting for CJ, so she finds that this is going to be the cause that she fights for, and it changes her and her entire community. It just sounds so good. Like, I just can't wait. And this one comes out in June, so it's coming out very, very soon. This last one I received in a trade is the one that I'm most excited for because I've been trying to get my hands on a copy forever, and that is American Royals, and this is by Catherine McGee. I can't wait to read this. So this book is about, at the end of the American Revolution, George Washington was offered a crown, and then he says yes, and throughout history, basically, America has had a royal family, and now we are 2 centuries later caught up with the current royal family and a girl who's going to become the first queen of America. So I don't know, this just sounds super good, and I obviously have been living in London for the past like almost year and obsessed with their royal family, so I'm like, yes, it is time for our own and to see what they're like. Also, I love this cover. Look at that. I love it so much. This last book is super exciting because it is a book that my boyfriend's friend actually wrote, and that is Where the Light Ends, and this is by Hunter Hadagi. I'm very excited to read this because it just sounds super interesting, and I actually haven't read any books by people that I personally know, so I'm just very, very excited. It's a thriller, and in this thriller, Chloe, our main character, she goes off to this wellness retreat camp with her family, and there's just this interesting darkness that is surrounding the camp, and it has something to do with the mysterious owner, and there's just, I don't know, a lot going on. And there's a playlist that actually goes along with it that is explained in the book. I'm gonna leave a link down below for you guys to purchase this if you would like, but yeah, I'm just super excited for this one. That is everything I received in this book haul. I'm super excited to share all of this with you guys. I love doing book hauls, and I'm going to be doing my May wrap up and June TBR soon. I'm super behind on it because it's almost halfway through June, but I really want to tell you guys what I read in May and what I'm currently reading, so keep looking forward to that. And if you guys received anything special yourselves, definitely let me know in the comments down below, or just send me a hey, hello Paige, how are you? Anything like that. I love reading comments from you guys. Otherwise, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye! Nah, who is this even by? I need to read titles before I like actually talk about them.